The final whistle cuts through the night, and his team's scarf hangs loose around his neck, damp with sweat and spilled beer. The danger is not the loss on the scoreboard. It is the ugly permission that enters a man when the crowd around him decides rage is easier than dignity. The bleachers shake. Plastic cups roll underfoot. Somewhere below, a chair scrapes hard against concrete, and the air tastes like stale beer and smoke. He feels it rising in his own chest too, that hot little voice saying, "They took something from us. Break something back." But what kind of man only has discipline when his team is winning? Tonight is not about pretending the anger is gone. It is about whether he can stand inside the noise without becoming part of the damage. A sports fan does not arrive at the stadium planning to become someone he would be ashamed to watch on a security camera later. He comes in wearing the team scarf like a small flag of belonging. Maybe it was a birthday gift from his father. Maybe he bought it during a season when money was tight but hope was cheap. Maybe it has been through road games, bad calls, overtime heartbreak, parking lot arguments, and those nights when strangers hugged like family because the scoreboard finally tilted their way. That scarf has carried more than team colors. It has carried identity. So when the final whistle blows and the loss becomes real, it does not feel like a number changing on a board. It feels personal. It feels like being laughed at by the other side. It feels like the city itself has been insulted. And in the bleachers, under the stadium lights, surrounded by thousands of bodies that all seem to tighten at once, the fan feels his own judgment begin to narrow. The first chair thrown is not just a chair. It is permission. That is how social chaos spreads. Not because every person in the crowd is cruel. Not because everyone arrived empty of values. It spreads because emotion becomes contagious faster than thought. One man shouts. Another points. A third kicks over a cup tray. Someone behind him screams that the ref stole the game. Someone else laughs with that reckless, ugly laugh people use when they are hoping the group will approve of the worst version of them. Then the body joins before the mind has held a meeting. His jaw locks. His shoulders rise. His hand grips the team scarf near his collarbone, twisting the fabric until it tightens against his throat. The taste of stale beer sits on his tongue. Smoke hangs low in the aisle. The bleachers vibrate with stomping feet, and every sound tells him the same lie: you are not responsible anymore. The crowd is responsible. The night is responsible. The loss is responsible. That lie is one of the oldest escapes in human life. A man can do something in a crowd that he would never do alone in his living room. He can yell words he would never say across a dinner table. He can destroy something he did not build, then later call it passion. He can confuse loyalty with rage because rage feels powerful for a few seconds, and loyalty often feels like restraint. But the scoreboard did not take his character. The other team did not take his hands. The final whistle did not command him to become careless. The shadow in this moment is not anger by itself. Anger is a signal. It rises when something feels unfair, humiliating, or lost. The shadow is the urge to turn that anger into damage. To trash the stadium because the mind wants the outside world to look as broken as the inside feels. To make a mess big enough that no one can see the smaller wound underneath it. And that smaller wound is often embarrassing. He does not want to admit that a game has touched something deeper than a game. He does not want to admit that losing in public feels like being made small in public. He does not want to admit that all week he had been carrying private frustration from work, from bills, from a text he still had not answered because he did not know how to apologize. The loss gives all that pressure a costume. Now it can wear team colors and call itself devotion. That is why the team scarf matters. Around his neck, it can become an excuse. A symbol that says, I belong to this anger. I owe the crowd my rage. Or it can become a reminder. A strip of cloth held close to the pulse, asking whether belonging means copying the worst behavior around him or protecting the name he claims to love. Fudoshin does not mean he feels nothing. It means the feeling does not get promoted to commander. In P1.C3, the test is social chaos. The outside world gets louder while the inside world must get smaller, cleaner, more exact. The discipline is not dramatic. Nobody in the upper deck sees a heroic transformation. No camera zooms in. No music swells. It is just a man in the bleachers, breathing through beer-stale air, noticing that his right foot is already shifted toward the aisle where others are pushing forward. That half step is the battlefield. A person without command says, everybody's doing it. A person with command notices the sentence forming and distrusts it. Because everybody has never been a moral compass. Everybody has excused broken windows, cruel jokes, cowardly silence, and small betrayals that people later pretend were accidents. The fan looks down and sees a crushed plastic cup near his shoe. His fingers still hold the scarf. His team lost. The anger is still there. The noise is still there. The insult still burns. But a second awareness enters beside it. If he joins this, tomorrow he will not be defending his team. He will be explaining himself. That is the quiet humiliation waiting on the other side of mob emotion. At the moment of chaos, rage feels like proof that you care. Later, it often looks like a man who lets strangers borrow his body. This is where discipline becomes painfully ordinary. It does not ask him to approve of the loss. It does not ask him to clap politely while chairs scrape and fans surge through the aisle. It asks him to keep ownership of his next action. To understand that the crowd can shake the bleachers, but it cannot move his hand unless he gives it permission. There is a difference between grief and vandalism. There is a difference between loyalty and losing your shape. He thinks of the kid 2 rows down wearing the same colors, wide-eyed, watching the adults decide what kind of night this will become. That detail cuts through him harder than the whistle did. Because every public collapse teaches someone. A father teaches his son how to lose. A stranger teaches a child what fandom means. A crowd teaches a city whether passion can survive disappointment without becoming destruction. The fan is not above the crowd. That would be too easy, too clean. He feels the pull. He wants to shout. He wants to make the stadium pay for the emptiness in his chest. His hand even reaches toward the back of the seat in front of him, not fully, not enough to call it a decision, but enough to know what direction the night is trying to drag him. Then his thumb rubs the edge of the scarf. The fabric is rough from years of washing. A loose thread scratches his skin. For 1 second, the scarf is no longer a flag for outrage. It is weight. It is memory. It is the thing his hands can feel while his mind is trying to run with the crowd. Fudoshin begins there, not in perfect calm, but in the refusal to outsource your character to noise. Because the real confrontation is not between rival fans. It is not between the crowd and security. It is not even between victory and defeat. The real confrontation is between the part of him that wants to disappear into the mob and the part of him that knows he will have to live with his own name after the lights go out. A stadium can survive a lost game. A man has to survive what he becomes after one. Training begins before the stadium gets quiet. It begins while the chair is still scraping concrete, while the chant has turned bitter, while his hand is still wrapped around the team scarf like he might use it to justify whatever comes next. He does not feel noble. That matters. A lot of people imagine discipline as a clean feeling, like some calm voice arrives from above and makes the ugly part of them disappear. But in the bleachers, under night lights, with stale beer drying on his sleeve and smoke catching in the back of his throat, nothing disappears. His anger stays. His embarrassment stays. The loss is still carved across the scoreboard. The first act is smaller than pride wants it to be. He stops moving. Not forever. Not as a statue. Just long enough to catch the fact that his body was about to follow the crowd before his mind had chosen anything. His right foot was angled toward the aisle. His hand was reaching for the seat back. His breath had shortened. He notices all of it without making a speech out of it. Then he says one word inside his head. Rage. Not justice. Not loyalty. Not passion. Rage. Naming it does not make him weak. It keeps the emotion from wearing a better uniform than it deserves. Rage wants to dress itself as team spirit. Rage wants to pretend that breaking a chair is a tribute to the players who just lost. Rage wants the dignity of a cause without the responsibility of a choice. He lets the word sit there. Rage. The bleachers shake again. A cup flies somewhere to his left and bursts against the concrete. A man in the row below yells at him to move, to get down there, to quit standing around like he does not care. That sentence lands hard, because every crowd has a way of turning restraint into betrayal. If you do not join the worst behavior, someone will accuse you of not belonging. His fingers tighten on the scarf. Then he changes the grip. He does not rip it off. He does not wave it like a challenge. He folds one end of the team scarf into his palm and presses the fabric against the center of his chest, right below the collarbone. The cloth is damp, rough, familiar. It gives his hand something to do that is not destruction. It gives his anger a place to land without letting it become action. The body needs a task before the mind can recover. So he gives the body one. He lowers his shoulders. He unclenches his jaw enough to breathe through his nose once. It is not a peaceful breath. It tastes like beer, smoke, and the metallic dryness that comes after shouting too much. But it is his breath, not the crowd's. He pulls it in for a count he does not announce to anyone, then lets it out slower than he wants to. The noise does not care. The noise keeps coming. But something inside him gets a little more room. He looks at the ground next. Not because the ground is wise. Because the ground is real. His shoes are on sticky concrete. A crushed cup is near his left foot. The aisle is 3 steps away. The railing is farther down. A kid in a team jersey is frozen beside his mother 2 rows ahead. Security lights flash near the tunnel. These details are not philosophy. They are coordinates. When the mind is infected by the crowd, it needs coordinates. He names them silently: scarf, concrete, aisle, kid, exit. That is enough to break the spell for another second. The crowd wants him to think in one giant, burning sentence: we lost, they cheated, break something. Discipline shrinks the battle until it becomes one visible action. Not fix the stadium. Not calm everyone. Not prove he is better than anybody. Just do the next clean thing. His next clean thing is to take his hand off the seat back. The chair in front of him is still there. It is available. That is the ugly part. In moments like this, the wrong choice often sits close enough to touch. He removes his hand and places it flat against his own thigh. It looks like nothing. But inside, it is a refusal. He does not feed the riot with one more body. Another fan bumps his shoulder. Beer splashes across the steps. Someone curses near his ear. He feels the flare again, hot and immediate. The mind presents a quick movie: shove back, yell back, prove he is not soft. It is amazing how fast the ego can build a courtroom where every bad decision sounds justified. He does not argue with the movie. He changes his stance. 1 foot back. Weight balanced. Scarf held close. Eyes up, not glaring, just awake. He gives people space where he can. He does not lecture the man shouting at him. A lecture in that all would only be another form of ego wearing a cleaner shirt. He keeps his voice low and says, "I'm getting out." Simple. Plain. No challenge in it. Then he moves. Not running. Running can spread panic. Not pushing. Pushing turns him into the same force he is trying to leave. He moves 1 step at a time toward the safer aisle, watching hands, gaps, shoulders, stares. His scarf is no longer a banner demanding revenge. It is a tether. Every few steps, his thumb rubs the loose thread, and the contact pulls him back from the fantasy of retaliation. He is still angry. That has to be said. A disciplined man is not a man who magically becomes pleasant while strangers throw chairs. He may still want to curse. He may still want the other team's fans to feel the humiliation he feels. He may still hate the final whistle for how cold it sounded. But he has put a command structure back over the feeling. The anger can ride in the car. It cannot take the wheel. Near the aisle, he sees a fallen program booklet sliding under a seat. He sees another cup about to be kicked down the steps. He almost ignores it. Then he bends, picks the cup up, and sets it against the wall instead of letting it become one more piece of flying trash. Small action. Small consequence. That is how the ritual begins. Not with a ceremony. Not with incense. Not with some ancient performance. With one hand refusing damage, then doing one ordinary thing that protects the space around it. The mind learns through repetition. If his hand can release the seat back once, it can do it again. If his breath can slow once, it can slow again. If his feet can leave the surge instead of joining it, they can remember that route the next time the crowd starts lying. He reaches the concourse. The sound changes there. Still loud, still tense, but wider. Concrete walls throw the noise back in broken pieces. A vendor cart sits abandoned with napkins blown across the counter. The taste of smoke is thinner. He keeps walking until he is near a wall, out of the main current of bodies. Then he turns, checks the flow behind him, and sees the same kid from the bleachers coming up with his mother. The boy looks at the scarf in his hand. That look does something the scoreboard could not. The fan smooths the scarf once, slowly, from one end to the other. Team colors, damp fabric, loose thread, night air. He does not need to make a lesson out loud. He just stands in a way that says the loss did not get to own him. That is the training. Stop before the crowd borrows your body. Name the rage without decorating it. Put your hand on something real. Shrink the battle to one clean action. Leave without adding force to the force around you. Repeat it until your nervous system learns that belonging does not require self-betrayal. The final whistle ended the game. It did not end his responsibility. By the time he reaches the concourse wall, the stadium no longer sounds like one crowd. It sounds broken into pieces. A chant dies near the tunnel. A trash can tip somewhere behind him and rolls in a dull circle before somebody's shoe stops it. Security radios crackle. The last few seconds of the game keep replaying on the screens overhead, cruelly bright, as if the night is trying to reopen the wound every time he looks up. He looks up anyway. His team still lost. Nothing about the scoreboard has become easier. The final whistle still sits in his chest like a hard object. His mouth still tastes like stale beer and smoke. His sleeve is sticky where someone's drink hit him on the way out. Somewhere in the upper deck, a pocket of fans is still shouting like volume can reverse time. But his hand is no longer reaching for a chair. That is the difference. Not peace. Not victory. Not some clean, cinematic calm where the world finally respects his restraint. Just one hand no longer serving the riot. One pair of feet no longer feeding the surge. One man standing near a concrete wall, breathing through a loss without making the stadium pay for what he feels. He pulls the team scarf from his neck and holds it in both hands. At the start of the night, it was armor. Then it almost became a license. Now it feels heavier than both. It feels like a question. What does it mean to wear something when the team is no longer giving you joy? Anyone can claim loyalty in the fourth quarter when hope is loud. Anyone can sing when the lead is safe, high-five strangers, slap the back of a seat, spill beer and call it celebration. The harder test comes after the final whistle, when the cameras catch faces falling, when the opposing fans are laughing, when the walk to the parking lot feels longer than it should. That is where a fan finds out whether his love has any discipline inside it. He watches people pass in waves. Some are silent. Some are furious. Some are pretending to laugh because disappointment feels less humiliating when it wears a joke. A man in a torn jersey punches the air once, then looks around like he is waiting for approval. Nobody gives it to him. He drops his arm. The fan sees that and feels something loosen. The crowd is still dangerous in places, but it is also tired. Rage burns hot, then starts asking for witnesses. Without enough people feeding it, it begins to look smaller. Not harmless. Not gone. Just less like destiny. He takes one slow breath and folds the scarf over his forearm. A boy and his mother come through the concourse, the same pair from the bleachers. The boy keeps close to her side. His eyes move from the shouting behind them to the scarf in the fan's hands. For a second, the fan feels exposed. He does not know this kid. He does not owe him a speech. But he understands, with a quiet sting, that children do not only learn sports from scores and highlights. They learn it from adult faces after disappointment. So he lowers his voice before he even speaks. "Rough one," he says. The mother gives a tired nod. The boy looks down at his own small jersey. "Yeah," the fan adds. "Still our team." It is not much. Almost nothing. But it changes the shape of the moment. The boy looks back at the tunnel instead of the shouting. The mother keeps moving. The fan stays by the wall with the scarf folded on his arm, feeling the embarrassment of having almost gone the other way. That embarrassment is useful now. It is not there to crush him. It is there to tell the truth. He came closer than he wants to admit. A disciplined person does not need to pretend the shadow was never there. He remembers his hand on the seat back. The quick heat in his chest. The part of him that wanted to disappear into the mob and come out innocent because everyone else had done it too. That part has not vanished. It is quieter, but it still knows his name. So he does something plain. He walks to the abandoned vendor cart and picks up a handful of napkins that have scattered across the floor. Not all of them. Not some heroic cleanup of a whole stadium. Just the ones near his feet, the ones people might slip on, the ones his own hand can reach. He sets them on the counter and pushes a plastic cup aside with his shoe so it is not in the walkway. No one applauds. A man passing by mutters that it does not matter. Maybe it does not, in the large sense. The team still lost. The stadium staff will still have a hard night. There will still be footage online by morning, angry comments, blame, clips cut short to make strangers feel superior. His little pile of napkins will not become a headline. But command often returns through small acts that do not impress anybody. He looks down at the scarf again. The loose thread is still there. He almost pulls it, then stops. Instead, he wraps it once around his wrist, not tight, just enough to feel it when he moves. Earlier, the scarf had pressed against his throat while the crowd's anger rose. Now it rests near his pulse. The same object. A different order inside the man holding it. That is the transformation. The world outside him has not become gentle. The noise has not disappeared. The loss has not turned into wisdom just because he behaved well. But his next action no longer belongs to the loudest person nearby. As he walks toward the exit, cold night air enters through the open gates. It cuts through the beer smell. It thins the smoke. Sirens sound somewhere far off, not dramatic, just part of the city doing what cities do after people forget themselves. He moves with the crowd, but not as the crowd. His eyes stay open. His shoulders stay low. He gives space to a couple coming down the stairs. He does not stare down the rival fans near the railing. He keeps walking. Outside, the parking lot glows under harsh white lights. Horns bark. People argue beside tailgates. The night is still full of reasons to lose command. He feels every one of them. Then his thumb finds the scarf around his wrist. He remembers the bleachers shaking. He remembers the chair scraping. He remembers how easy it would have been to let one bad night become evidence against his own character. And he understands something he would not have understood if his team had won. Sometimes the final whistle does not reveal the score. It reveals the man carrying the loss. He cannot control the crowd. He can refuse to become its echo. Every man has his own bleachers. Maybe yours is not a stadium at night. Maybe it is a work meeting after being embarrassed, a parking lot argument after a long day, or a kitchen where one more sharp word could damage the people you love. The shape changes. The test does not. Something goes wrong. The air gets hot. The crowd inside your head starts chanting. It tells you to throw the chair, send the text, slam the door, make the outside world pay for what you feel. But there is always a scarf in the hand. Some small thing. Some breath. Some object. Some pause that reminds you your anger is real, but it is not king. Stand there first. Feel the loss without becoming damage. Then take the next clean step. The final whistle can end the game, but it does not get to command the man wearing the scarf.